I am told that Mr. Bana actually joins us on the line. Well, Mr. Bana, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. And if you can hear me, are you not actually embarking on a wild goose chase because the company that's Sunon Asogli has said that no, these three workers will never be reinstated?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Bana. I can hear you loud and clear.
Please, not Mr. Agwana. This is Secondary High Court Juros.
Sincere apologies there. We will be coming to you. But are you with the Ghana Mine Workers Union?
No, please. No, please.
I'm sorry. You are with the jurors in the Western region demanding
Yes.
a strike over your conditions of service. I will be getting
Yes.
to you shortly, but sincere
All right.
apologies there. We'll connect back to you for us to have that conversation. This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Sincere apologies there. We are trying to raise Mr. Abdul Mumun Bana. He is General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union to pick his thoughts on that demonstration earlier today against the Sunon Asogli Power Company Limited. But before we get to him, let's hear from him because he actually addressed the press today when they demonstrated in Pune today.
We all know why we are here today. Yes. We are being exploited by a Chinese employer called Sunon Asogli. Yes. Our rights as workers are being abused by a Chinese employer called Sunon Asogli. Yes. Are we going to sit down for this to happen? Will we sit down for this to happen? Shall we sit down for this to happen? Choboy! 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 They dismissed 3 of our leaders, our union leaders, for absolutely no reason. They said because they joined the union and they chose to be elected as union leaders, they have to dismiss them. Choboy, those of us here, are we not union members? Are we not employees of employers? Do we not come from different companies? Choboy! Choboy! Why must Sunon Asogli be different? Why must Sunon Asogli be different? Choboy! Choboy! We will not sit down for this to happen to us. Our 3 union leaders must be reinstated. Choboy! They must be reinstated. They must bring down back our 3 union leaders. Choboy! Choboy!
That's General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin, who joins us via telephone. Mr. Mumin, good evening to you and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening to your listeners and good evening to your good self.
Very well. Today you held a protest or demonstration demanding the reinstatement of these 3 dismissed workers of the Sunon Asogli Power Limited. But are you not already fighting for a lost cause because the company says it is not going to reinstate these workers?
Well, it takes 2 to tango. If that is the intransigent position the company has taken, then that is extremely unfortunate. I want to place on record that Ghana Mine Workers Union, the TUC, will not agree with that position. We believe that these 3 union leaders did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. The only crime, according to the company they committed, is the fact that they joined the union and they volunteered to lead their fellow colleagues. And that is the only reason why they have terminated their appointment. And I can say for a fact that the union leaders who unfortunately have been taken through, this bizarre, situation, are among the best of workers of that company. And so they can choose to take that intransigent position. The Mine Workers Union, the Trade Union Congress position is that the 3 union leaders must be reinstated. And that is absolutely non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable, you say, but really, why are you actually pushing for the reinstatement of these three workers? On what basis? Because the company, in a statement to clarify this issue, makes a number of, allegations against you as a union. But before we even get to that, they say that the employment contract is not servitude, and that either party to the contract may terminate the contract at any material time in accordance with the provisions of Act 651 and the contract. You want to disagree?
I disagree completely. I disagree completely. What needs to be noted is the fact that every contract, okay, has terms and conditions that regulate it. As I speak to you now, you cannot lash onto the fact that employment contracts are not servitude, and for that matter, you can get up one morning and just terminate an employee's contract when there are laid down procedures that you must deploy. If you are minded to have read the response of Ghana Man Workers Union and for that matter, TUC, to the press statement of Sunon Asogli, we have made it clear that the workers have the general conditions of service, which requires you to prove culpability before you can terminate an employee's appointment. You cannot take that simplistic position and hide behind the fact that you do not need unions at the workplace to terminate employees' appointment. We cannot operate in a system like that. And so we disagree with that assertion. They know too well that they are mixing the facts. If you have the general conditions of service that say that you need to prove culpability when an employee commits an offense. What offense did they commit? They committed absolutely no offense. Did you establish culpability? You did not establish culpability. So on what basis do you terminate the employee's appointment? That is absolutely absurd. And this is not something anybody can accept. Trade unions exist to protect the employment interests and, for that matter, the socio-economic interests of its members. As long as we remain a trade union, the Trade Union Congress would not accept this position at all. Employment is not servitude, like they said. It's a service. And that is why there are terms and conditions that regulate the employment relationship. What they have done is shared servitude. If you treat an employee, you treat labor as if labor were a commodity that you buy off the shelf. And when you have exhausted or finished using it, you dump it in a dustbin. That is servitude. When you wake up in the morning, the worker dresses up to go to work. He gets to the gate and you hand a termination letter to him. That is servitude. When an employee is off duty, preparing to come to work the following day, and you send a termination letter to him by email, that is servitude. When an employee is working, busily working in the office, you send the Ghana Police Service, you send men of the Ghana Police Service to go in there and escort him in the full glare of the public, treat him like a common criminal. That is servitude. So this company, their level of arrogance is just unbecoming. And I do not know where they're drawing all of these powers from. So my brother, let me put on record that they cannot claim that employment is not servitude, and for that matter, you can decide to do anything and have your way. It cannot happen that way. Not at all. As I speak to you now, Sunon Asogli is part of the Independent Power Producers Association. It's an employers association. And this is a right guaranteed in the Labor Act. Employers have the right to come together. Why do they come together? They want to come together to form a common platform through which they can press home their common demands. Recently, they were arguing out there in the public space about the fact that government is indebted to them by way of payments of blah, blah, blah to them. Why did they use the Independent Power Producers platform to advocate for the interests of the employer? And so if workers decide to come together to freely exercise their fundamental rights, on what grounds would an employer stop such group of workers by simply terminating the stage of the union? If you cut the head of the union, do you want the union to exist? No, because that is deliberate It is calculated, and that is what they are hell bent on doing.
Well, but the company actually accuse you of, intimidating them with your aggression in the fact that you illegally held a protest on their premises, which happens to be a security installation without authorization, and that your conduct was untoward. How do you react to all these allegations that have been leveled against you?
My brother, they reference Section 131 of the Labor Act and proceed to say that what the union did with its members was unlawful. Let me say that Section 131 requires that you cannot barge into a company without, seeking the consent or the permission of the employer. We went under Section 129 of the same Labor Act. We wrote to Sunon Asogli on 3 different occasions requesting to meet with our members that we had fully disclosed to Sunon Asogli. I remember that Sunon Asogli is not the only employer operating within the labor market. We deal with several employers who recognize the rules of engagement and the fact that unions have the right to meet members or meet their members at the workplace. We wrote on 3 different occasions. Sunon Asogli blatantly turned down that request. We met with our members. I must say that we met with them in a public space. We met them under 1 hour. It was very civil. They are only concocting stuff to make it sound like the union had done something wrong. The union did absolutely nothing wrong. Straight the agreement. They talk about 34 workers. How come that today they are talking about terminating 3 union leaders? How about the 34 workers that met with the union when the union engaged with them under 1 hour? Okay, so it is important that we remind ourselves that to every right there's a responsibility. And what is good for the gander is good for the goose. What is good for Sunon Asogli is what they claim to project in the media space to say that the union gathered unlawfully and going under Section 131. But in equal measure, Section 129 puts an obligation on them to make it available, make space and make logistics available to a union to be able to operate at the workplace by meeting its members. And this should be done within 24 hours when the union requests to do so. On 3 different occasions, the union writes to you.
But Mr. Mumin,
Mr.
Mumin, if you sorry to interject, but 2 wrongs obviously do not make a right. I want you to believe that. But if you are pushing for what is right or what is due your members, do you have to go to the company without permission?
My brother, that's what I'm telling you, that it is not as if we went to the company premises to embark on any illegality.
What did you go there to do then?
We met with our members in a public space. We met with our members in a public space. All the workers that attended that engagement were off duty on the day. We met them under 1 hour. It was civil, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so if they turn around and make that accusation, that obviously cannot hold. But if you are minded, respectfully, I request that you read the 8th March release in the Daily Graphic, page 4 and 5, where we responded adequately to the press release of Sunon Asogli on the 4th of May. On the 8th of May, we responded to their press statement of the 4th of May. And we have detailed out what exactly the issues are.
I see. So now that you've demonstrated trying to get these 3 workers reinstated, what's next for you as an association?
Well, as a union, like I said, we are working with the Trade Union Congress. We have 23 affiliate unions of the TUC. We gathered at home, precisely right in front of the company today to demonstrate. Now, there are a series of actions that we have lined up. I may not be able to disclose them at the moment, but I can assure you that this fight is not over. We will not retreat and we will not surrender. The union leaders, like I said, did absolutely nothing wrong. As I speak to you now, if your employer walks into the room and hands over a letter to you and says you are terminated from employment, if you have the general conditions of service, or if you are unionized and you have a collective agreement, and there are clearly laid down rules, processes and procedures that the employer is supposed to follow. Trust me, the labor law says that that takes preeminence or precedence or prominence over and above any common law position of employment is not servitude. And for that matter, you can terminate at will. Nobody is a commodity. Labor is not a commodity. You cannot buy off labor, use it anyhow you want, and dump it. Like I said, the chairman has worked in Sunon Asogli for 10 good years. He's a very smart engineer that has worked in the company for 10 good years. The secretary worked in the company for 8 good years. The assistant secretary worked in the company for 8 good years. In all these years, they have been some of the best engineers that this company has. So if they decide to join a union and then make themselves available to lead their colleagues, for Christ's sake, how on earth can an employer descend on these 3 innocent young men in 21st century Ghana? Please, it just beats every imagination.
But that's your raft of measures you are considering.
If they have conscience as an employer, which I expect them to have, we will go to this extreme. And so we are determined, we are not perturbed. We are determined to ensure that these workers are reinstated. It is either their investment or the respect for the rights of the workers. You came in here with your investment, you went through the requirements enshrined in our laws. Ghana, and for that matter, the government gave you opportunity, an enabling environment to operate in. Why do you not want to give an enabling environment for workers to operate in? Why do you think that you must stifle the rights of workers just so that your business can thrive and you can make supernormal profits on the basis of the sweat of these workers? And so for me, what is good for the gander is good for the goose. On the balance of probability, that is where every well-meaning Ghanaian should be arguing and should be seeing these matters from. The right that Sunon Asogli has, same right applies to these workers. And so please, with the greatest of respect, if the Energy Commission, which is the regulator of that sector, decides today to withdraw the license of Sunon Asogli and tell them to pack out and leave, you know what they're going to do? You think they're going to go away without a fight? So please, these workers have done absolutely nothing wrong. They deserve to work in that company. And it is not for them to think that because they brought an investment, the rights of workers must be arrogated to the background. And for that matter, any issue to do with unionization of workers must not be held in that company. I think that our laws do not agree with that position.
But finally, are you working with any timelines? Expiration of that particular deadline will lead to you triggering your next line of action, and that's your raft of measures. Actually, are you considering legal action?
My brother, the truth of the matter is that when this whole matter broke out, we sent petitions to the Ministry for Labor and Employment, especially the Minister for Labor and Employment, and a petition was served on the Minister for Energy, on the Minister for National Security, on the Minister for Finance. In fact, we sent a petition on Tobe Afede, okay, the Royal Majesty of Agbogbomesia, right? We served these petitions on all of them. Interventions have been made one way or the other, but no positive response has come out of it. We are open to dialogue as much as we are open to all the other options that are available to us as we speak. Dialogue, the trade unions do not shy away from dialogue. Indeed, we are committed to social dialogue and we are ready to engage any day, any time. But we also have a lineup of actions that we will be embarking on. And so between now, I will not be able to give you specific timelines. I can assure you that we have a committee that is appraising everything that we do on a daily basis. And at every material moment, when it requires that we embark on any action, we will do so. What is important is that we will do what we have to do until these 3 innocent gentlemen are reinstated into that company.
All right, you are grateful. That's Abdul Mumin, General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union.